This is the RX 7800 XT. It's got 16 gigabytes of VRAM and it's a beast here in 2024. You can pick up this graphics card anywhere from $475 to $500 and it's great for 1440p gaming. We're going to be using a capture card to record the gameplay of this graphics card so that we won't lose any performance whatsoever. And today we're going to be testing it in some of the best games of 2024. So let's go check out our PC specs we're going to be using. For our test bench, you can see that we're rocking the graphics card here with GPU Z with the i5-12600K and 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM running at 5600 megahertz. Good middle of the road PC build here. So let's hop into it. At 1440p, and we're going to go ultra settings, and we're going to turn off any sort of upscaling just to, see what it'll be. In a game like Starfield, you can get away with upscaling and it's not going to affect your overall playability at all like some people worry about. And we are currently in New Atlantis because according to the internet and the people in the comment sections of my TikToks and stuff, I have little to no idea what I'm doing in Starfield apparently, unless you go test the FPS at New Atlantis. So that's what we're doing. And so we're getting currently 71 FPS with a 57% low. We're just going to kind of hop around. We jump in the water because water typically lowers FPS. In some games, water, any kind of like heavy plant life, things like that. But New Atlantis, it's handling it pretty well so far on ultra settings. I don't think there's anything else that we can kind of like ultras as high as we can go. So everything is, maxed out. We're rocking the FPS average hopped up because I paused the menu. But we're 71 FPS or so, 73. Anywhere on New Atlantis. So let's go see maybe crowds. Maybe crowds make it higher. I don't really know. So far though,
you see that scientist out in front of mass?
I've had no issues with this graphics card and it's running this particular area very well. I just ran out of oxygen, so I gotta slow my roll a little bit. But this is pretty good. So now what we'll do is we'll go hop in. I have another save on this game, so we're gonna go back to the main menu. And we're going to load a save where we do some fighting with some weapons. And we're going to do that so that we can see what the FPS is like with some gunfights. This gunfight is inside. It's not in outer space, so it's not a spaceship battle. It's just a fight with some like space pirate people that I have had. I got to reset my FPS average counter. And so here inside this building, we're seeing like 50, 60 FPS more, which is kind of crazy. So we're just going to see, okay, it drops a little bit when we go fight these guys. Oh man, there's one in here. What are you doing? Oh man, I'm getting shot. Shoot him. Alright. So 125-ish FPS maybe? Hey, that's my apartment. What are we doing? Oh dang, that was explosive. But we're still holding steady. 85s are 1% lows. And we're rocking like 120, 115 FPS. 122 is what my average says, because it does jump. But it doesn't look like it's dropping below 115. I'm going to die here in a second, but you get the drift of what we're trying to accomplish. So, Ultra Max settings, 7800 XT on Starfield. It's a pretty awesome experience. So our first run, what we're going to do is we're going to run Ultra settings with no upscaling. So we're going to turn the upscaling off. Again, that changes it to custom. So Ultra is as max as we can go in the presets. Upscaling's off, so you can see like everything is almost maxed out, but we're just going to keep it at the presets. And we're going to run the benchmark and see what our numbers are. So make sure we're at 1440p. Before we do that, let's run the benchmark. Now, depending on the particular game that you run this, now for this particular combo that we have going on here, depending on the game that you run, you may have some sort of like hiccups as far as your CPU goes. It's not going to stud or anything like that, but you see the graphics card is at 98%. So like most of the time that's going to be at like 100%, maybe 99. So we're almost getting the full use of the graphics card, but depending on the game, it may not make a big difference in your FPS, but like a game like Warzone, we would see a little bit more FPS if we had a better CPU. So I don't know if you watched the Warzone video or not on this graphics card yet, but you can because the playlist will be at the end of this video. But right now on max settings with no ray tracing or anything like that, we're running 80s with no upscaling. I think that's pretty good. Let's see what the average ends up being here at the end. We got 95.89 average FPS, which I think is kind of crazy. So the minimum was like at 80 to 81, and you can see over here that nothing was extra was enabled. So we're going to go back to the settings and we're going to go ray tracing overdrive. This graphics card is not great at ray tracing, and ray tracing in general is just very demanding, even for NVIDIA GPUs. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave on the upscaling and we're going to run the benchmark with this ray tracing overdrive and just see what the difference in the FPS is. So we on the struggle bus, that's for sure. We're at 28, 27 FPS, and that's probably not going to get any better the longer we go through this benchmark. So I'm sure you could tweak it. Like, these are the absolute max settings for the ray tracing on Cyberpunk. The only difference that you would possibly have is that, I mean, obviously we're using FSR, we're using some upscaling, and the FPS is a little better outside here, so our FPS average might end up being close to 30. We shall see at the end. Either way, it's not a bad graphics card. The only difference, or the only exception that I would say that might make a huge difference to us, is that we need to kind of test it maybe against the 7900 GRE, which is only like a $50 difference in the graphics card price. It may not be worth the 7800 XT anymore. And you can see your FPS average, sorry, is 29. So not terrible for Cyberpunk. Ray tracing with FSR, we'll take it. All right, to start off our settings in Helldivers 2, we're going to look at our display settings, and we're going to use 1440p, the native resolution, so that it doesn't mess up with our render scale. Graphics, we're going with the ultra preset settings, which pretty much puts everything at max. We want to make sure that VSync is turned off, or that's at VSync's off, full screen, frame limit off, so that we can see our maximum FPS. Let's just go find a place on the map where we left off last time.
Hellpod Prime, engaging orbital thrusters.
And let's go see what kind of we can get while we're liberating some space aliens. Alright, so we're here trying to liberate some space aliens, and right off the rip, there's already some aliens over here in our face. We gotta locate the broadcast tower, and there is a movement penalty in this game for aiming. So that's going to make it tougher. But right now we're getting, looks like 94 FPS, and not good. It's very hard under pressure to get these weapons. Oh my goodness. Not really, but okay. What happened to my gun? Okay, there it is. Want to go ahead and get a supply drop while I'm here. All right, so we need the FPS average on. So we're getting like 92, 91 FPS, native resolution, 1440p. I mean, I think it's pretty awesome. And I don't think you need a ton of FPS for this game, because it's kind of like a zombies type game that you're kind of dealing with, and it's not really that crazy. But let's see how it looks the rest of the time while we're trying to fight these little aliens and critters and stuff. I don't know if this is where I'm supposed to go or not. I already got max ammo. I'm supposed to terminate some kind of illegal broadcast that's going on, so I'm gonna go assume that it's over here at this tower, maybe? I don't know. I really need some more aliens to come so we can see our FPS numbers. Okay, so I finally figured out what I was supposed to do for this mission, but I never really saw that many other zombies things, so whatever they are. 97 FPS is my average here, but now once I activate this tower, I'll probably have some people come my way. We'll see what. I have 2 minutes, and also apparently have to avoid fire tornadoes. That's also another thing.
That is 1 minute and 30 seconds.
1 minute, 30 seconds. It's not too bad. They're slowly getting over here. And there's a fire tornado coming as well. I need those big old things to get up here and get. That's what I need. These fire tornadoes are scary. Is that one? Right. Oh man, those guys almost got me. Not cool. Okay, that fire tornado stopped. Maybe. All right, come on, people. Come get me. Save me. Our FPS is still sitting solid at 96 on ultra settings. I mean, there's not really anything like more demanding that I can do in this game, so this kind of just is what it is.
It's 20 seconds. 10 seconds. Clear landing zone.
And I mean, that's pretty much all there is to that's pretty much all there is here to Helldivers. Oh no, fire tornado. Fire tornado. No, I didn't see the fire tornado. Ooh, I made it. All right. Helldivers 2 runs like a champ. All right, to start off this game of Resurgence, we're going to try ultra settings at 1440p with no upscaling whatsoever to start with. And we'll add FSR 3 and then frame gen and just see what happens at the end. Now, Resurgence is a good game mode to test because the FPS numbers are going to be pretty close to Warzone. I mean, you'll get a little bit less FPS in the actual Warzone game. But from what I see on Twitter, a lot of people are playing this game instead of the Warzone game mode anyway. And so that's what we're going to do. And because, you know, every time I die, I get to respawn and we'll see what happens from there. I did not mean to throw that drill charge, but that's okay. Now everybody knows where I'm at. So right now off the rip, we're getting 155-ish FPS. 112, 113, 1% lows. So, I mean, those are pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. And I'm off to a great start with losing my first gun battle here.
You're getting another chance. Make it count.
All right, we'll go try somewhere else now to see what will happen. But the biggest key is, can I survive long enough so that I don't have to load another game? So we're getting, you know, 160-ish. Sometimes it drops down to like 155, but our 1% lows are good, and everything else seems to be running very smooth. I would like to get in another, you know, gunfight to see exactly if it drops or affects FPS at all. But right now I'm just, you know, dealing with this as it is. I hear some shooting going around somewhere, but I got my resurge back. So there's a dude. Let's go see if we can fight him and see what happens. Oh,
Got gas moving in.
I got shot from on top of the hill. Man, not very good at this gun. And they can say what they want to, but there's no way there's good skill-based matchmaking because, like, that dude, he's got all these skins. He's running around sweating, throwing smoke bombs, diving, proning.
Get ready. You're deploying.
Like, I play this game maybe once a week when I benchmark a graphics card, and that's it. Like, that's all I ever play. Almost didn't make the ledge there. That would have been tragic. Okay, so 160 FPS with no upscaling on ultra settings. I feel pretty confident that it's going to stay and hold there pretty well. So we have a nice little system here that we're testing everything on. And our upscaling is going to be FSR 3.0 because that's the new one. No frame gen to start with, and we're just going to see what it shoots our S up to at the moment. We'll start our counter over again, and at the moment it appears that we're getting 206 FPS, 131% loads. Like, I'm not a professional gamer by any means. I'm not a competitive gamer. I mean, I play like ranked modes and like Fortnite and Valorant just for fun, but I'm, you know, I'm not winning money playing video games anytime soon. But I mean, I don't mind frame gen. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. Like, the FPS numbers are not bad. The delay in the input lag for me, I feel, is pretty smooth. So, like, I'm not upset about it at all. A lot of people complain and say that, you know, you should never use upscaling in FPS style games, but I think it's pretty smooth. All right, so our next goal, though, is to not be out in the wide open. All right, and we're gonna see how the frame generation, see if it works. Now, I'm a little bit concerned about my CPU here not being able to fully utilize this, but we're gonna see what happens because we're only getting like 200. Like, it's pretty much exactly the same as what it was without the frame gen. And I feel like that's not supposed to be that way, because on the RX 7700 XT that I tested not too long ago, wasn't on this channel, that's before I started posting on this channel, it got like 270 FPS with frame gen. So the only thing that I can think of, whoops, the only thing I can think of that would cause that discrepancy in the FPS numbers is my CPU not being strong enough to do that and handle those numbers. Oh my gosh, man. Well, that game's over. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to play one more game of Warzone to try the frame gen. We'll try and see if the frame gen gets any better if we play a second game of Warzone, although it probably is not going to be. And then what we'll do is we'll see what our highest FPS numbers are at max resolution, like 100% render scale, with the lowest setting. So like if you want to best case scenario, max out your FPS, low settings. What would it look like? And that's what we're gonna do. All right, so we're gonna play the one more game on the Resurgence game mode with FSR 3.0 and frame generation, and we're just kind of seeing the CPU bottleneck here with this particular graphics card because our frame generation is not as high as what we'd like for it to be. So because I've had experience with the 7700 XT and we've had a much higher like with frame gen on, so I know that this could be much better. I mean, 195, 200 FPS. I mean, that's nothing to write home about. It's not bad at all. But you know, I'm okay with the results. If you wanted more results for this graphics card, obviously you could get a better CPU. But like, you're not gonna be miserable with this at all. And I'm working on getting I'm working on getting a 7800X 3D for these videos so that the graphics card will not be bottlenecked ever. But that's just a long way away at this point. So now what I would like to do is we're gonna try one more little round of games here because I'll probably die pretty fast. But we're gonna turn FSR off because you know it's an FPS game. A lot of people don't like FSR in FPS games. We're gonna go to the basic, not the minimum, because the minimum looks really, really bad. We're gonna go basic settings, which is pretty much the lowest you can go. We might go minimum, but see, minimum changes it to like half render scale, so we're just gonna go balanced. I mean basic, sorry. Basic settings, that's as low as we can go without changing the render scale. And we're gonna see what our S is like. Again, this is no upscaling technology, no FSR. And we'll see what it's like. Homeboy running around like crazy right now. But I mean, we're getting 214 FPS. Oh man, he found me. That was no upscaling, low settings. I mean, it's hard to tell on the screen recording how good the quality is, but I think overall it's a great, option for you. If you want to pick one of these up, it's down in the comments below. All right, so the settings we're going to use first in Halo Infinite are ultra settings, and we're going at 1440p. We are playing maybe Slayer or Team Slayer. I don't really know exactly, but the really annoying thing about Halo is that you have to restart the game every time you change the settings, which I find to be tragic. But right now on ultra settings on this Slayer team deathmatch doohickey, we're rocking 125ish. So I guess it is Team Slayer based off the guns we have. Oh no, about to fall off the map. Okay. Ooh, that was close. 129, 130 FPS. I can't complain too much about that. Back in the day, the sniper slapped in Halo, but I don't think it's as good now as it used to be. Where the heck is everyone? Yeah, see, it's not a one shot to the body anymore.
Power items incoming. Power items have arrived.
No scope. Let's go. All right, so we're rocking 132-ish FPS at the moment. Come on now. Let's see if we can get a couple more of them. Well, okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Let's see if there are any settings that I can't, like, can I change it to high without? Nope, gonna have to reset the game no matter what. All right, so now we are trying Halo Infinite at the high preset settings, and we are getting an average FPS that is all over the place apparently. 181 is our current situation. 185. Looks like our FPS though drops some occasionally throughout that situation. 160 is what it looks like right now. This mode looks like it is extreme mass chaos. 154 FPS, that looks like we're rocking at the moment. My team didn't protect me. So this game mode is actually a pretty good test of the FPS because, we're still rocking like 158-ish FPS. I just fell off the map like a dingus. I didn't know you could fall off the map there. Shows my inexperience in this game, which is nice. But, you know, with the mass chaos that's going on here, we're getting, you know, very smooth frame rates. The FPS 1% lows are 123. And like there's no hitches or glitches whatsoever in this experience that I'm having with this particular situation. Now, I know a lot of people with competitive like style games, they like to have over 150, you know, they like to have like the 200 to 240. Like that's the goal sometimes, but in games like Call of Duty and Halo Infinite, those games are extremely difficult to get to that 240-ish FPS mark for sure. So, you know, I'm just not sure exactly what we're going to be looking for here. Let's see if we can go to medium. Nah, we're just going to go to as low as possible on our settings. I just got pooped on with that hammer. We're getting like close to 200 FPS or so. That's what it looks like. 217, 215 FPS. I think that's pretty solid. Now, once we get in kind of the action, it gets down a little bit lower, like 170, 180. But overall, I don't think it's a too terrible of an experience. Ooh, I got the gravity hammer. Like, I don't even know how I'm supposed to get over there with a gravity hammer and not die. But, you know, our average is still staying, though, around 200, which I'm just, like, super duper surprised about, to be honest. I thought it might be a little higher, but we are at 1440p. So, you know, 1080p you might be able to, but we're just working on a 1440p experience here. Alrighty. Overall, though, I think this graphics card, this game, you know, it's pretty smooth. So if you were looking for, you know, 1440p Halo benchmarks, I mean, I don't think you can be very disappointed at all with this experience. You know, I think you'll be very happy. All right, so the settings that we're going to try first here in the finals are 1440p. The FSR quality, from what I can understand, is the lowest of the resolution scalings. And no ray tracing and epic settings to start with. And we're going to look and just see what that's like. The finals is a very strange game to me. I think it's very difficult to get it to run as far as like super high FPS, but like 120 FPS is perfectly fine and super playable. Like, there's no reason for you to think that it's not. But you know, for other games that we're typically used to seeing, we don't see a game that tends to be hard to run at the like lower FPS or higher FPS settings. Holy moly, I don't know what the heck. Well, that happened. Oh, they're reviving me. Very nice. Alright, I forgot to start the FPS average counter, but we're rocking 127s, 100 on the 1% lows, and that could be rocking lower at times. Our platform is currently doing fairly well. We are... Okay, so in the midst of all this chaos that we currently have going on, apparently got sniped, but we're at 118 for our FPS average. I'm sorry, my nose was itching. You'll just have to forgive me and say, hey, I saw you pick your boogers in the comments if you saw that, but that's okay. I will survive. I have no idea where I'm getting shot from. This is insane. That dude's got a bow and arrow, and apparently they can kill you, and I only hit them for 38, and they have a spear. What on earth is going on? I have no idea. But our FPS is at 121, which I think is pretty good. But just for the sake of the video, you know, we're gonna drop it down to just high, medium. Yeah, let's go medium settings. We might try all low settings later, but these settings here, we have 160-ish FPS. Oh, we get, man, how many of them got bows? So in the mass chaos, it kind of dropped down to 151 on the FPS marks. A lot of people do like to do the the ray tracing on this game. So, I mean, we can turn some of that on. Let's see. Since we're on medium settings, you know, we can try that and see what it's like. Static. Might have just broke the game. No, it was just turning the ray tracing on. We're going to go high. That's not quite the highest, but it's the next to the highest. So we'll see what that does to our FPS. There we go. Now I'm loaded. So it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't look like it's affecting it a whole lot. Let's make sure that I saved it because it's very possible that I didn't. No, it's on there, but it's medium.
Look at this. Both teams have their eyes on the platform.
Oh, I got him. He didn't kill me with that stupid bow, which is nice. I'm falling. Oh, man. Okay. Here we go. Apparently they all have the bow arrows. But 140 FPS? It looks like the ray tracing stuff doesn't affect the FPS a ton. It does make it crazy. Look, I mean, it looks pretty awesome. And it's super smooth. So, like, I just don't think that you can get, like, super duper high FPS numbers on this game without FPS. Or without FSR, I mean. I don't know how to say FPS. So much utility. It's okay. All right, so we're gonna take this time while we're dead, and we're gonna try low preset settings. We're gonna turn the ray tracing, and we're gonna go. Still gonna use FSR, but we're gonna go ultra performance, and we're gonna see how our FPS can go. All right, so I mean, our FPS numbers doesn't really matter what we do to the settings. It doesn't look like that we can go like much higher than 180-ish, but then like when stuff starts happening and all the utility and
the jet setters are now heading for home.
And things are heating up as both
oh man, how do I get over there? Okay, and so even in the massive, so even with all the crazy chaos, the most I was able to get like a steady FPS was like 160-ish, 170-ish. And it, you know, so you can tweak the settings and, you know, is it worth it to do 160, 170 FPS just to get your, like, is it worth lowering all those settings and making it look a little worse for a good 40-ish FPS? I really don't know. Well, I'm guessing that's ball game. So, I mean, overall, I think it's a very smooth experience. This is a game where you're not going to get those massive FPS numbers. I've not tested it in the 4090, obviously, but overall, you know, I can't see that it's just a crazy game here. Now, I do think also, I haven't played this game a lot, so I don't know how the game is. You know, Fortnite doesn't use the graphics card a ton all the time, but it does appear that we could be having some sort of like graphics card, CPU bottleneck situation here, because our number and our percentages are a little bit lower than what we would have liked. How did we win this game? There's no way we won this game. All right, so the settings that we're going to start with here in XDefiant are we're mainly focusing on the ultra preset settings wherever the presets are. So we're doing ultra, but we turned off the VSync for whatever reason and no frame limit. And that's what we're rocking with. And it looks like we're going to start around the 150, 160 mark for this particular situation, and already getting absolutely destroyed. I'm not the biggest fan of this game, but maybe it'll grow on me if I played it more, but like I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm pretty sure that's the first elam that I've ever got. So we're still, our 1% lows are a little lower than I expected in this game, not gonna lie. But we're rocking 158-ish FPS at the moment, 150-ish. So I mean, I can live with that. That's pretty solid. It does feel smooth right now, but there hasn't been a lot of super duper mass chaos going on. In this game, there is a lot of, what you say, camping type play styles.
requested.
And so we do have to deal with that a lot. And it doesn't appear that there's a ton of people here in this game. So we're just kind of walking this robot through. I just saw a flash of a body. There we go. There's somebody. It's 159-ish FPS. 100. It's 160. So that's not too bad. Let's see what it looks like if we go like low settings. See what our highest. So ultra. Let's go just regular high. VSync off. Oh well, you just got hit there. We're gonna respawn.
Closing in on the checkpoint.
So what? There ain't no way. We go from 150 to 220. I must have hit some button wrong on the settings. There's no way that makes that big of a difference. We're still custom, so we're just on high. We turn VSync off. Everything is pretty much medium. That's the settings that we're on. So that's the biggest between ultra.
Move it forward. Hit another checkpoint.
Requested.
That's off that grunt.
So just changing those few settings back to ultra, from ultra to high, gave us a massive FPS boost in this game. So that's pretty crazy. I mean, I knew this was supposed to be an easier to run game, but I wasn't expecting that by any means. So I guess my only other thing that I'm concerned with now is that what kind of FPS gains do we get if we lower the settings all the way down? They're literally just spawn camping us. So I had this weird tickle in my throat, so I didn't talk for a second, but now we're up to 300-ish FPS on the low settings, but let's see once we get like some fight and some more demanding areas, see if that drops some. It does appear that we do have some lower FPS numbers, but it only dropped to like 270 for the FPS average.
The new loadout smell.
We won! Let's go! So 280 FPS on low, a little over 200 on just high settings, and ultra settings is on like 150, 160. So I think that this game is pretty optimized for the most part. I really don't have any complaints. Alright, so to start off with Apex Legends, we are doing everything on very high settings. Like, well, I say very high. They're all maxed out except for shadow spot detail. It always gives me like a warning message when I try to max that out. And so we're gonna just see what our maximum FPS numbers look like if I can quit running into the wall. All right, so right now we're at 262-ish FPS. Ooh, 270. Okay, I like it. The maximum frame cap on Apex Legends is 300-ish, so 270 is not bad at all, especially considering we're playing at 1440p, we're playing on max settings, and we actually got an elimination because, you know, I never do that in Apex Legends. And they're just sitting in droves of two, apparently. What are we doing, Steam? Go away, Steam. So we've been able to sit hard at 272 FPS. The game feels pretty smooth, pretty snappy as far as our 2.3 to 3.3 millisecond response time. Our 1% lows are rocking at 182. The game feels absolutely great. So like, there's no reason for you to go out. If you're wanting to go hardcore Apex Legends, I want to be a movement demon in the game of Apex Legends. Like, there's no reason to get anything else as far as FPS is concerned. Like, this is perfectly fine. I mean, if you wanted to play around with the FPS, you could probably, like, if we tweaked it and we went to like low settings, especially like maybe on a few of these, maybe medium settings, sorry about that. I mean, it would be real easy for us to kind of just get maxed out at that 300 FPS. And look what happens. So I dropped a few of them to medium, just random, which whatever I picked, randomly selected some low, some medium, still kept a few things at high. Like, we're pretty much locked pretty solid. Pretty solid at that 300. Now, when some stuff's going on like this, then, you know, they drop to like 289 or so. So let's see if we get like a locked through 300 if we turn like everything off or all the way to low. That would be interesting to see. Like even with all of the craziness that goes on, for some reason that hurt my FPS. Okay, so that made my FPS worse for some reason. Not sure what it would have done. I don't know. Maybe it was just a fluke. I don't really know. But now we're sitting pretty much at 299, 300. Let's see what happens when we go fight somebody. For some reason in this team deathmatch map, everybody likes to just sit here at the top and team up together, and there's nothing you can really do about it if you're about to go on me. Because I can't kill anybody, so even when I go up there.
Enemy agent right here. Right here. Got one.
It's a really dumb map for team deathmatch. I'm not gonna lie, because there's no way to get up there without like seeing someone. Oh, I got one. Let's go.
Enemy right here. Hold on. Shoot.
Somehow my team is still winning because they're just not. But we're 290 FPS, solid 1% lows, teetering close to 200. Like you just can't complain about that. You know, it's gonna be pretty awesome experience. If that's something you would like to do with your graphics card options, the 7800 XT, I think you'll like it. But if you're not sold and this is not the only game you play, all right. So now we're at 1440p. We're gonna try performance mode. Textures low, mesh is low, view distance far, and we're just gonna see what our FPS numbers are here with the 7800 XT graphics card. We'll kind of get landed first, and then we'll start our FPS counter as far as the average and the 1% lows go. On performance mode, typically the knock with AMD graphics cards, or that they are worse, or you are worse off somehow. But, you know, I don't think that that's too bad of the case, to be honest with you. I ran the 7800 XT as my main graphics card for a while, and although it can have some stutters and some glitches, like our 1% lows are currently at 8 at the moment, which, you know, is kind of crazy, but those will get a little higher. Performance mode, your 1% lows are just worse. It's just how Fortnite is. Fortnite is a pretty demanding game overall, and that's something we have to keep in mind anytime that we benchmark Fortnite, and we are rocking a whopping 344 FPS at the moment at 1440p on performance mode in Fortnite with an AMD graphics card. Now again, I'm not playing build mode, I'm not a sweat, so like I'm sure that there might be some problems that come with that, but like our 1% lows are up to the 70 and 80 range, so at the moment like I don't see a huge problem with this. In fact, it's probably not going to be any better even if we like played another game or another round of this, but we're rocking some pretty okay. Like I think it's pretty smooth, but the real test will be later in the game, you know, when we get around more people. But this should continue to just keep balancing out the longer that we ride through this. So, oh, there's a car. Help get me to a different place a little faster, you know? That seems to be the theme this season is cars all around. We can go up to Mount Olympus and see what's going on up here. I'm gonna say that there's a lot of bots here, it looks like. Alright. So I got that person. Gotta be one more. Our FPS is still rocking at 300 in the middle of this little skirmish we got going on here. Oh, right. Let's go. Our FPS stayed at 328, and I mean, I couldn't tell that the 1% lows were at 43 in the middle of that fight. Like, I mean, y'all probably thought, man, that dude's terrible at the game, and I am. Don't get me wrong, but it was pretty intense, and it was pretty smooth. Like, I really can't complain at all about these FPS numbers with this graphics card. It's pretty awesome. Now the only thing that I'll say is that, you know, we'll try to go to a more congested part of the map, middle of the map kinda, just see what happens. Like here, let's get to the Nitro Dome. I think this is called the Nitro Dome. I don't know. This dude's got the God card. Let's go. So during that little exchange there, I get a little focused sometimes and I forget to talk, but we were getting a good whopping 300 FPS and our 1% lows I mean, 39, like I didn't see or feel any of the stutters there, if there were any, to make the 1% noise drop. Dude, people are literally using guitars and gloves to get in ranked. Like, I just don't understand it at all. Like, why? I don't get it. But whatever. Anyway, so we're testing this graphics card, and it's doing pretty well. I don't know why I just said that. That was cringe. It was awkward, and I'm sorry. But I will get better at filling the space and the dead air as we go along. But towards the end of this video, we'll run it at DX12 as well, and see like how close do we get to this 300 FPS mark. So like there's monitors that give you 360 FPS. Like you can get a 360 hertz monitor. They don't give you 360 FPS, but you can get a 360 hertz monitor, and that was a very interesting exchange. Oh no, not cool. And so with a 360 hertz monitor, I got distracted during the middle of that fight. You're not going to get that with this graphics card. So even DX12, which would look a little better than performance mode, and your 1% lows would be better. So like that would probably help in build mode. I don't know. I haven't played build mode in a while because, you know, my friends quit playing build mode. I should probably play build mode to test these graphics cards, but I just don't feel like it, you know? But anyway, if you want me to play build mode, you let me know down in the comments and I'll play it for you guys. But right now, this is pretty smooth, and we're gonna go, oh, and well, we lost. So 300 FPS was our average, 44 was our 1% lows. It's not a terrible engagement whatsoever. But what we're going to do now is we're actually going to switch it to DirectX 12. And on DirectX 12, we'll have to restart our computer. So while it's restarting, go ahead and press that like button, because that like button is probably going to have more FPS for you in your future, you know? So the settings we're going with, with DirectX 12 are everything's turned off or low, except for view distance. We put that on far, because if you're playing Fortnite, except for the, you know, very small percentage of you that actually wants to play it on high settings, most of you want the most FPS you can get out of the game. And so instead of wasting your time watching me play the game on max settings where the game barely moves around and it barely twitches at all, I figured it would just be better for you to watch me, you know, play a little bit of the game, and I'll try to talk the best I can while I fight in these engagements and see what our FPS numbers are like. So like we're rocking like 230-ish, 250-ish, and we're going to turn our FPS average counter on, and we're rocking, like we're getting close to that 300 mark we got on performance mode. So it's not terrible. Oh, doo-doo just fell out the window. Not good, not good. Oh man, well, we'll try that again, because that was not a very good run. Okay, so let's try this again, and we're going to try to survive longer than 20 seconds this time. Okay, so now that we've landed, we're looking at around 280-ish FPS. Again, we're running DX12 this time. Everything low except for view distance. That is on far, or stuff's turned off. It could just be turned off because it doesn't have a low version. But that's what we're looking at the moment. I'm pretty sure that I saw someone land over here, and we did. Alligator is no longer with us in this game. All right, so 296 FPS. I mean, that's looking pretty good. But let's see if we can find some shield, and then we can get out of here and go see what it's like in the middle of the map. Because the middle of the map's where I like to be. It's where the action is. Well, I say I go to the middle of the map, but there's some fighting going on up here in the Mount Olympus area. It sounds like a country bumpkin, which I'm from Alabama. So far, we're rocking the FPS of 293, 292, and it's looking pretty good at the moment. Not gonna lie. Why would they put a harpoon bag in those ammo crates? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, I guess this was the only person at Mount Olympus. I guess the other person guitared out of there. Got me a cow catcher. Now, I just need a gun. I get a gun and I'm gonna be chilling. Oh, look at there, there's a rocket. Oh, they do have lower health now on solos. That's nice. We're still at over 290 FPS, like 295. Our 1% lows, I told you guys, are extreme, much better when it comes to DX12. So like, you're talking like FPS being all over the place with performance mode. DX12, you know, you kind of get that little bit of stability, but like still our FPS numbers, like right now, if you look at the average, it's not dropping, but our FPS numbers are around like the 200, the 240 mark at the moment. So that does hurt a little bit, but it's not anything just to be crazy about. And that was pretty good play by me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty proud of that. So we're at 250-ish FPS average. I reset the FPS average counter because I saw that it was dropping on the map, but you can see during the fight, it still come back up to like 250 in the middle of that fight. No dips, no stutters. I guess technically it did dip, but like I didn't feel it. A lot of people talk about those 1% lows, and maybe like if you're like ultra super duper competitive gamer, like I don't notice those stutters like that. The only time I notice stutters is if it bottoms out for extremely long periods of time, or like I lag because my internet sucks or something. Like that's the only time I really feel any sort of stutters and that sort of thing in a game like this. So as of right now, I mean, I don't see any reason why anyone would not be okay running an AMD GPU with this. Now, I know there's a lot to be said as far as like if you have a tournament mindset, like you play in Fortnite tournaments and you're that was sorry. Fortnite tournaments and things like that, then maybe you don't want to play with an AMD GPU, and I get that. Like, I don't know if I should have talked to those back to back. I don't know if they stack or not, but I guess we'll find out. I need some more shockwave or thingies, my lobbies, but yeah. So anyway, 278 FPS, even in the middle of fights, 1% lows are at 155. I guess the only other thing that we could possibly do is try to make it to endgame, but I'm probably not good enough for that, so we're just going to survive the way we are now. We'll try to go see if we can get in one more little skirmish and see what happens. That's one of them mythic cars. So that dude just almost died there. I was fortunate enough to get away. Alright, let's go. What a comeback, man. I'm the comeback king. There's no way he was hitting all those shots. Well, that dude didn't miss a shot, but there we go. Gaming bananas. Whatever. Anyway, this game is also on 7800 XT, but if you play games besides Fortnite, then you might want to go watch this video.